Great on the field and in the kitchen. Ohio State cornerback Eli Apple responds to one anonymous NFL scout who criticized him because he can't cook. Plus, Hall of Famer Andre Reed says he's feeling the effects of his years playing on the gridiron. And Carmelo Anthony characterized the season as a roller coaster. The New York Knicks star explains what he hopes comes next. This is SI Now. Hey there, welcome to SI Now. It is Thursday, April 28th, and I'm Maggie Gray. My first guest is a 9-time NBA All-Star, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and a national champion. Carmelo Anthony is here. Melo, so good to see you. First of all, we know how close you are with Chris Paul. Yep. Breaks his hand, has to go through surgery. How much urgency is he feeling right now? How down is he? Have you spoken to him lately?
I've talked to him actually yesterday, just about kind of keeping your head up and, just cheering your team on at this time. That's the only thing that you can do. From what I'm hearing, the surgery, was very successful. It was a freak accident. You can't prepare for that. You can't train for that. He stuck his hand in there, and it was an unfortunate situation. It's
unfortunate all around that injuries have become a big storyline in the postseason. Yeah. Who's your pick to win it all?
I don't really have a pick.
Oh, come on.
I'll probably watch 2 games this whole postseason so far.
Is it painful because you're not
the player
yourself?
It's hard to watch, knowing that you should be there. You try to envision yourself in those moments. So I try to get over that hump.
Okay, well, of course, now we have the off season upon us, expecting some changes to go on with the New York Knicks. Now, first of all, you visited Houston last summer. Things have kind of fallen apart for the Rockets. Dwight Howard's going to be a free agent. Is that someone you would want to target to bring to New York?
I don't know. It depends if he really fits in, and what we're trying to do here in New York, or what, I don't know. You never know what guys are going to do, what guys are thinking until it actually happens.
How would you characterize this season?
His season?
Your season.
Oh, my season. Unexpected. I would say a roller coaster. And it was kind of a learning year for me as well. I mean, coming back off of my surgery and my injury, trying to build that back up and, trying to get back in top-notch form and, trying to keep everybody together when guys could have easily just folded. And so it was definitely a learning, period for me this year.
We talked so much about the triangle, and I know just out of frustration recently you were like, I don't even want to hear the word triangle anymore. How much did the emphasis on playing that style affect you as a player?
Well, it didn't affect me as a player. It was just more, I think everybody else put an emphasis on the actual word triangle instead of really understanding exactly what it is. I mean, when you have a group of guys who's trying to learn something at one time in a short period of time, is very difficult, to learn that system.
But you are the superstar of the team, and I know you're okay with putting that sort of pressure on your shoulders. Is playing for Phil Jackson different than what you thought it was going to be like?
Well, you're not really playing for Phil Jackson. I mean,
he's implementing.
You are in one way, in one way or another. But you're not really thinking about that while you're out there on the basketball court. You're thinking about doing what you have to do to make the team win or help the team win, and where you can, kind of be effective throughout the course of the game. But you're not really thinking about, Phil and what he's thinking in the stands or in his seat.
This is a quote from Phil, and this is one that stood out for me. I know a lot of times people put quotes back in your face, but this one really stood out. He said, "Some of our best games we played were when Carmelo didn't play and we didn't win, but we had great games."
I don't know how to take that. I really don't know how to take that quote. I try not to insinuate anything when I hear that quote. The only person who knows what he really is talking about is Phil.
Do you feel like Phil really wanted you for his long-term plan?
I think so. I mean, that was a situation where I actually really sat down and, looked him in the eye, man to man, and he told me that. So that's the only thing that I can go off of. Another man sitting in front of me and telling me, what he feels, what he likes, what's his plan. That's the only thing that I can really go off of. Now, if you go back on that word and, for me to look a man in their eyes and lie to them, then that's a different story.
So no one's ever approached you about waiving a no-trade clause or anything
No, I
like
never.
that?
I'm in the media.
That's it, just us.
Just the media.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody else.
You mentioned that you were hoping to be involved with the coaching search, if there's going to be a coaching search. We think there is. David Blatt was in earlier. You want to be updated, maybe even consulted on some of the Knicks decisions. Do you think they're going to honor that request?
I think so. I think in a situation kind of like our situation with the Knicks and a guy in my situation, you want to be involved. I mean, you want to know who you're going to be playing with. You want to know who you're going to have, sitting in that first seat as a head coach. You want to know, how you're going to start building those relationships. So you want to be involved, and you don't want to be involved in everything, but you want to be involved in who you're going to be on the court with, who's in your locker room, who you're traveling with, personality-wise. You want to know these type of things.
Absolutely. Do you feel like Kurt Rambis is going to return?
I don't know. I haven't really talked to anybody. Once the season was over, I try to kind of just get away from it and clear my mind and, not even think about it for right now.
Every night for you is pressure-packed.
Yeah.
You're used to having all of that on your shoulders, but in what other ways have you been helped to stay cool in the moment?
Gillette.
There you go.
My Gillette clinically clear gel, man, is, I think for me more, and I do use it. I mean, I use the product, to be honest with you. I'm not just somebody who's here promoting a product that I don't feel connected with. But, I think in different situations and different pressure spikes, for me to be able to, feel comfortable and confident and knowing that, my body odor is not going to be, it's not going to go over the top. It's not going to spike. So, Gillette for me is the way to go.
Are there some teammates or maybe opponents that you would like to give some of that to? Perhaps they're not doing as well. Stay cool.
Nobody in particular, but I'm pretty sure I'll be bringing up a big bag of the Gillette gel and handing it out.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone will really appreciate that. Before we let you go, I have to ask you about Kristaps Porzingis because he's a big highlight for the Knicks this year. What do you hope he works on this offseason?
I think just getting stronger. I think everybody saw kind of his upside and what he can, what his capabilities are. But just getting stronger, and that's gonna come. I mean, he's 19, 20 years old. A guy who probably never lifted any type of weights a day in his life. So now, you implement a nice off-season program, and your first or second year, that off-season, says a lot about an athlete.
When you first saw the photo of him with the cornrows and realized that he basically idolized you.
I said, this is my guy right here.
So it wasn't awkward. You took it as a compliment.
No, I definitely took it as a compliment. And then when I got a chance to meet him, everything just played out.
It was an unfortunate hairstyle for him. Looked great on you.
Thank you. But he said he liked it. He thought he felt confident in it, and I'm glad I was his role model.
All right, maybe he'll bring it back for next season. Carmelo Anthony, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And of course, you can check out your event going on today. You're going to be with the fans.
I'll be with the fans at Grand Central. Come through. Actually, the doors open at 9, so I'll be there today, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a lot of fun over there.
Great. Carmelo Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, later in the show, an anonymous scout criticized Eli Apple because he can't cook. We'll talk to the Ohio State cornerback and get the real story next. SI Now will be right back. Welcome back to SI Now. We're just hours away from the first round of the NFL Draft, and two players that are expected to be taken tonight are wide receiver Josh Doctson from TCU and Eli Apple from Ohio State. I spoke to both prospects yesterday. First up, here's Josh Doctson. So let's start with this. Can you tell us, Josh, which of the teams did you visit during your draft process?
Yeah, so I met with Minnesota, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Houston. I left them all wishing I could play for each of those coaching staffs and programs. So, and it all of them intrigued me, and it's just all of them had like a different form of winning.
Some scouts have said you could be the next Odell Beckham Jr. How does it feel to hear those types of comparisons?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just trying to be the best I can be. If they compare me to him or they compare me to somebody that was undrafted and made their way up. So I'm just trying to do what I can do and do what I can control and do it at the best of my ability.
Take us back to those days at TCU when you were a walk-on. Did you ever think that you would get to this level on the cusp of becoming a professional football player?
No, ma'am. Yeah, not at all. I just always have my head down, working hard, and you see results. You see, with your hard work, accomplishments, goals being met, things of that nature, being accomplished when you working with your head down and not really expecting a lot and hoping for the best.
You're going to be facing some adversity when you're going against some of these cornerbacks in the league because wide receiver and corner are the two marquee positions on the football field aside from quarterback and really defensive end. Is there one corner you're looking forward to going against, someone you've heard so much about, you've seen all the hype, and you want to test yourself against them?
Yeah, my boy Jason Verrett, right out of TCU. Um, we battled back in my walk-on days on the scout team. I was going against the first team defense. I got to get a crack at him, and I'm telling him right now, I'm better than them old days. So I'm hopefully get to see him on the field lined up against me in one-on-one coverage and see what happens.
Interesting wide receiver class this year. We've seen a lot of good wide receiver classes in the last couple of drafts between you, Laquan Treadwell, and Corey Coleman and Will Fuller. How have you distinguished yourself amongst that group?
I'm not competing against that group. They're not on the opposite team with me. I think we're all been working together these last 2.5 months to get drafted. I think everybody right now is on the same goal in mind, is getting drafted. Don't care if I'm the first receiver off the board. Don't care if I'm the last receiver off the board. I'm competing against Josh because I just want to be the best I can be at the end of the day.
Clearly, you're a humble guy. Put your head down and go into work. But the draft is also a time for celebration. You have to be looking good. You want to be feeling good. Tell us how you're preparing for the red carpet and for all the festivities.
Yeah, so Head and Shoulders is getting me right, making sure that I'm nice groomed and ready to go for all the festivities tomorrow night and the celebration at hand, and taking care of my family. Most importantly, my mother. Olay is taking care of her and getting her nice and dolled up and ready to go for that red carpet.
Listen, enjoy every second. Congratulations, and we'll catch up with you again soon, Josh. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Our thanks to Josh. Ohio State cornerback Eli Apple has been at the center of two controversial stories, but by no fault of his own. The most recent involves an anonymous scout criticizing Apple because he can't cook for himself. I asked Apple about that. Eli, it seems like you've been getting some odd questions and evaluations throughout this draft process. How would you describe the last few weeks of your life?
Pretty crazy. Just being with family, it's been a great time with them, and the visits before that with the teams were pretty kind of crazy. It was like the combine all over again. Talking to everybody from the janitor to the head coach, but it was a good time, and I'm enjoying it.
How many teams have you gone to see throughout this draft process?
8 teams.
8 teams. And did you leave one or two of them thinking this is the team that's going to select me?
Not really. They kind of give you a couple leads, like, hey, we really like you, but you know that things can change.
We know this is the time of year for anonymous scouts, and one criticized you because, of all things, Eli, they said you can't cook. Do you remember having a conversation about cooking with any of these teams?
No, that's the funny thing about it. I've never had that conversation, so it's kind of weird that it comes up right now. It's whatever.
It's interesting, though, because I think the scout was saying that cooking was part of a bigger criticism that the scout said they don't believe you have any life skills. How does that make you feel?
Doesn't make me feel happy, of course. It's kind of a shot at me a little bit, but it's whatever. I'm not gonna listen to that stuff. It's kind of ridiculous to say that thing. And say it anonymously. That's probably the worst part about it. But it's whatever. I'm just gonna continue to work hard and do whatever I can, wherever team that drafts me. I'm gonna work as hard as possible.
Oh, absolutely. We know you're going to work hard. Your ethic is unquestioned. But this is the second time something odd has happened in your draft process. You were also asked last month about your sexual orientation by a coach from the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, how invasive has this draft process been?
Yeah, things have definitely been pretty weird and crazy. But at the same time, you just have to know that in life, things like this can come up. There's always something going on. So I'm not really mad or crazy mad or anything like that at anybody. It's just, I'm a mentally strong person. I don't really mind whatever people have to say about me because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So it's whatever.
If you were advising someone who was about to go through the process that you just did, what would you tell them?
Just to stay focused. Don't get on social media too much and just try to just keep all your focus on becoming a better athlete and becoming a better football player and a man and present yourself well to these teams because any little thing can come back to bite you.
The cornerback position, which you play, has gotten a lot of attention in the last few years. It's really become one of the marquee positions on the football field. Which current corner would you say you mirror your style after?
Revis, of course. He's my guy. He's somebody I've looked up to since I was a kid, and I loved this game when first he came out. He started playing for the Jets and everything. I feel like he's probably the best corner ever, in my opinion.
Your former teammate Joey Bosa was on our show. He told us he's going to be dressing pretty low-key for tomorrow night's draft. We weren't all that surprised, but how have you been getting ready for the draft in Chicago?
I've been getting ready with Head and Shoulders. They've been getting my hair right, making sure it's flake-free, as you can see. Still probably need some work. But, I'm just working with them, and Pantene's helping my mom out become very fresh so she can look nice on the red carpet. So I think I'm going to be killing it on the red carpet. I don't like to brag too much. My suit isn't going to be low-key, but it's going to be very nice.
Well, you're on the clock now for the outfit and also for the draft. Eli Apple, thank you for joining us from Chicago, and congratulations early on what comes next.
Thank you. Appreciate everything.
Our thanks to Eli. It has been a bizarre few weeks for that young man. As for the draft itself, it's an event that's become bigger than ever. And our own Jon Wertheim explains if you're a team in the market for a quarterback, you really can't afford to make a mistake.
Do you feel a draft coming on? Of course you do. The NFL draft is now officially unavoidable, impossible to ignore. And the event is many things. It's another sign of the NFL's supremacy. This glorified job fair 5 months before week 1 eclipses everything from NBA and NHL playoffs to the Kentucky Derby. The draft marks an infusion of hope for teams in need of, well, both infusions and hope. And also, the draft is a referendum on the importance of the quarterback, the most important position, we'd argue, in all of sports. Starting with Peyton Manning, 13 of the last 18 top picks have played the position. And it looks like that's what the Rams, what's left of them anyway, are going to do again this year. One quarterback can alter the fate of an entire franchise, of course, but that cuts both good ways and bad. The year Peyton Manning was drafted, well, Ryan Leaf was the second pick. The draft is a high-risk, high-reward affair. Sure, you can turn your franchise around with one top QB. You can also make a mistake that takes years to undo. Those teams that miss their intended targets, so to speak, not only did they pay millions and get less than that in return, but in a league with a salary cap, that's money they couldn't spend on other needs. Then again, this is not news to the Rams. The perils of spending a top pick on a quarterback who didn't pan out? Well, isn't that ultimately what put them in the position to do it again this year?
Welcome back to SI Now. The Buffalo Bills haven't made the playoffs since before the turn of the century, the longest drought of any team in the NFL. Armed with the 19th pick in tonight's draft, Hall of Fame wide receiver Andre Reed stopped by our studio to tell us who he thinks Rex Ryan in the front office should be targeting. Andre Reed, looking great in the gold jacket. As always, you got the bling too. We're going to talk about that in a second, but we have to talk about the draft first. Yeah. First round's on Thursday.
19th pick, baby.
Your Bills have the 19th overall pick. What direction do you hope they go in?
Well, by the looks of things, I think they're going to go defense. I mean, we lost Mario. We lost a couple other guys, Brad Ham. We lost McKelvin. So defense is looking like the move at 19. But you never know with the draft. Depends on what some other team does before you. But we need to fill some holes. I always say we because that's, we have to fill some holes on defense.
You're allowed.
Yeah. Offensively, we're pretty set. I mean, we have the quarterback now. Everybody's like, well, how about Tyrod? What do you think about Tyrod? I think he's proven himself that can play another year for another contract. I don't think they should re-sign him right now. Let him play this year. If they want to re-up him, they re-up him. But let him play one more year, prove himself again, because you never know. I mean, how's Osweiler going to do in Houston? Just because you played behind Peyton Manning and you had a couple good games, i.e. Rob Johnson for the Bills and J.P. Law, all these guys, it doesn't bode that you're going to be, that kind of quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
and
nothing against Osweiler.
I would say everyone in Houston just
I know, well,
put their head in their hands.
I'm just saying nothing
Rob
against
Johnson.
him. I think he's going to be good, but you're taking your
understand.
chance, if you know what I mean. You're taking a chance.
Yeah. I want to ask you quickly about a former teammate of yours, and that's Thurman Thomas, another legend from the Buffalo Bills. Just admitting now some effects from concussions, mood swings.
I got them too.
You have them too?
I have mood swings, yeah. I mean, I think, maybe not to the severity that he might have them, and I've known Thurman for years, and Thurman took a lot of hits, and I took a lot of hits. I think, a guy doesn't come out and say that just to be saying it because somebody else said it. I mean, it's probably affecting him. There's no doubt about it. And I've talked to his wife. I haven't talked to her since this came out. But I probably will be giving her a call. And, how is he? Because I'm concerned. And he would be concerned about me, too, if I came out and really that was what I said, too, to a certain point. And I want to know how he's doing because he's part of my success. And more players are retiring for whatever reason. 4 or 5 guys every year now, I just had enough. And I think guys are afforded to retire now because some guys make so much money that they go, you know what? All right, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't want to risk it. And that's just the way the game is. And when I played, the protection of the game really wasn't as much as it is now. I mean, they hit you from every angle and nobody got fined or anything. So I'm glad that the league has and the players have taken initiative that this is a heck of an issue. And the movie came out. It's a thing that's really out there, and you can't dispel, you can't dispute it. It's a part of what the game is.
Yeah, it's amazing to acknowledge it. Did you feel any way about NFL executives finally acknowledging the link between CTE and football? Did that mean anything to you?
I think it was a step in the right direction I don't know if he got coached to do that, the guy that said that, but after a while, you got to say, you know what? There's a lot of guys that this affects, and somebody's responsible, whether it be the league, the helmet manufacturer, whatever. Somebody's responsible for some of these guys really needing the help that they need, and I'm glad that did take place.
Some people have predicted and forecast that this could be the end of football, or football is going to change. It's not going to be the same as when guys like you were playing, or even the guys now. Yeah. Do you sense that there's some kind of, war on football, or the end of football is near, or is that being too alarmist?
I think it's not going to be the end of football. I mean, people are going to want to watch football if they're playing in, no helmets and they're playing in, I'm not going to say skirts, but it seems like that like that thing is coming about, that you can't hit nobody, you can't touch nobody. I mean, the Pro Bowl this year, nobody touched anybody. I mean,
That's the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but it was like two-hand touch.
It was.
So, again, I think the league has taken measures to protect the players, number one. And is it going to be in 15 years when some of these guys are retired? Is it going to be the same that it was 15 years before that? It could be, it could not be, but the right steps are protecting the players.
Absolutely. When you think back to your Bills teams, we think about Marv Levy in the Hall of Fame 2001. Jim Kelly went in 2002. Thurman went in 2007. Bruce went in 2009. You went in 2014. You're all in the Hall of Fame, not only gold jackets, but rings as well. Right. I mean, when you guys get together, what is it like?
It's a heck of a session. Bill Polian, who just went in.
Bill Polian, how could I forget?
Yeah, Bill Polian went in last year, and he got his Hall of Fame ring at the Patriots game, last year. And just to be with those guys, despite going to 4 Super Bowls and losing, there's a lot of people that wish they could have been there. And there's a lot of guys that play in this league a long time and don't even get a taste of what that is, because that's really what you play the game for. And to be with those guys all those years and doing that, I wouldn't want to do it with any other guys. K Jewels, of course, they are the official ring of this Ring of Excellence for the Hall of Famers. Every Hall of Famer is going to get this ring. Brett Favre and Marvin Harrison, all the guys at their respective stadiums this year will get their Ring of Excellence from K. And Mother's Day is next week, right? Coming around the corner, 2 weeks. Go to K and get something for your mom.
May 8th. Got it circled on the calendar several times.
Mom will love it.
Can't forget Mom.
Yes.
Andre Reed, thank you so much. Great to talk with you.
You got it.
Great conversation there with Andre Reed, and that's going to do it for today's episode of SI Now. We'll be back on Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Bengals All-Pro wide receiver A.J. Green will be here. But until then, you can keep up with all the latest sports news on SI.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the draft. We'll see you tomorrow.